Grand Portage Resources recently completed the 2018 drill program on its 100% controlled Herbert Gold Discovery property located in the prolific Juneau Belt in southeast Alaska. Drill results are expected through late 2018. Past drill results included numerous multi-ounce gold assays on multiple veins. Grand Portage trading symbols are GPG on the TSX Venture, GPTRF on the OTCQB, and GPB on Frankfurt. For more information, please visit our website, grandportage.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Chris Vermeulen from the TechnicalTraders.com. Welcome back to the show, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jim. Always a pleasure.
How are the big markets doing right now? The S&P seems to be on some kind of a extra special point. What is it?
Yeah, well, last year, 2018, we saw the equities market trade more or less sideways to down. We saw some huge waves of selling of big institutions just unloading massive amounts of shares and liquidating capital. This year, we have not seen that yet. This year has been nothing but up and up and up. And I think it's about time for investors to get probably a little bit shaken up here, see the VIX, the fear index spike up. So, you look at the SP 500. If you're to zoom back to see last October, November, and December, there were 3 highs put in the SP 500, all roughly at the same price. And the market came up and tagged that level yesterday. We saw some big selling step into the market and sell the price down. It did recover, but big money was unloading at that price. And the big question is, are we going to see the markets roll over here and have a significant correction? And I feel as though we are going to see something pretty big to the downside.
If that's the case, what should people be doing?
Well, at this point, it's been an easy ride up this year. Volatility continues to narrow. You really need to be trimming off, in my opinion, positions that you have on an individual stocks. We've trimmed off all of our small cap, mid cap stocks that we were into this week, anticipating the markets to start to roll over. And, we've put on a couple, an inverse ETF play that this ETF will rise as the stock market falls. And that's what we're looking for, is potentially a 1 to 3 week correction in the market. And the SP 500 right now is trading around the 2793 area. I think it's got potential to have a sharp correction down to the 2640. So there's pretty good room for profit to the downside. A leveraged ETF can obviously jack those gains up even more. And the market likes to fall 4 to 7 times faster than it rises. So I am anticipating a sharp pullback and a spike in the VIX.
Now, so many of the people I chat with said that we would do well through January and February, but March was a time to be careful of. And so it looks to you that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, just looking at the charts and the cycles, everything, that seems to be what is playing out at this point. That's where the bias really is. At this point, it's getting long in the teeth and ready for a correction, I think.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after this.
Hi, I'm Douglas Mason, President and CEO of Magnum Gold Corp, MGI, and the TSX Venture Exchange. A 2015 drill program on the LH property intersected several high-grade gold intersections, including 11 meters of 20.66 grams per ton gold. Additional drill targets on the LH property have been identified by a 2018 drone airborne magnetic survey to further evaluate a pyrrhotite-enriched gold-bearing system. Please visit our website at magnumgoldcorp.com.
MGX Minerals is revolutionizing the new energy economy with patented lithium extraction technology, replacing traditional solar evaporation using low-cost, low-energy nanofiltration. The first system of this paradigm shift technology is currently being commissioned. MGX Minerals trades on the CSE, symbol XMG, the OTCQB, symbol MGXMF, and Frankfurt, symbol 1MG. For more information, visit our website, mgxminerals.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, what do you see happening with gold?
Well, gold's had a nice sell-off the last couple weeks. In fact, the last time you and I talked, gold had a really big update. I think it was February 19th. It was a huge update in gold. Everyone online and all the forums, stock twits were buzzing. Everyone was so excited about gold. It was breaking out. It was running. This is it. And you and I had spoken. I was completely opposite. I was saying everyone is feeling like $1 million today, and this is the point you should be looking to close out positions and go short, looking for 1,300 on gold. And of course, it has rolled over. It's pulled back and actually fallen below 1,300. And I think this is just the start of what could be even a deeper correction. At this point, we have not held the $1,300 mark. It's oversold, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bounce or consolidation for possibly a week here. But I do feel as though, based on my technicals, there's a lot of downward momentum here, and I think sellers are going to step back into the market after a couple-day pause, and we could see gold move all the way down to the 1260 area, which is the lower end of my kind of target range.
If it hits 1260, does that bring panic in as a factor?
I think if it breaks more or less around 1275, that's going to create panic. It's going to create a much larger sell-off. I think I might have said 1260. 1240 is the downside target that I have. I think when it hits 1240, that will be more or less the bottom of the panic. Everybody will have been panicking out to that point, and that's where there could be a great buying opportunity at the 1240 area. So I think panic will kick in if we see another $10 drop in gold. That will send gold to 1240, and then at that point, I think we'll be looking at a pretty good buying opportunity. But we'll have to see what the dollar's doing, how gold miners are performing. We'll have to see how they're performing, because they do factor into if we should be getting into gold. Maybe we want to get into miners, or some of those leading indicators sometimes say just steer clear until there's a high volatility bottom put in place. We could see some really big up and down days for potentially a couple weeks after that as it tries to stabilize. And you don't really want to be holding positions through there. You want to let the market find a bottom, create a bottom, and then as it starts to break out, you want to get back in to the new trend or the bounce.
What about the other precious metals?
Well, we've seen, platinum and palladium have been two very different animals. We're looking at those metals. We've seen palladium really just rocket higher over the last year and change, while, we've seen palladium or platinum underperform the market and trade down near some significant lows. So it's interesting that those two metals, you don't really hear too much of them being talked about, but more or less, if you ask me, palladium is putting in a significant topping formation, and we're going to see a pullback potentially for another couple of months. And I think we're going to start to see money shift from different precious metals. Palladium's been on what I call as like a stealth bull market. You don't hear too much about it, yet it's been just rocketing higher. Platinum, on the other hand, is starting to reverse. It looks like it's found a bottom. And I think it's going to start to become more of a metal of choice, because palladium is now overvalued, in my opinion, from a trading or investing standpoint. It's just high priced. It's very toppy. Platinum looks like it's at long-term support. It's been out of favor, and I think money is going to start to rotate into that. And I think it could be a next top performing actually metal. It could outperform gold as well.
The global downturn in the auto industry, could that affect the value of platinum and palladium because they're used in catalytic converters?
It could for sure, yeah, and that could be a big play there, especially with all the electrical cars. Obviously, you don't need those. So, I mean, there's always new needs and demand for those, but they're definitely heavily weighted with the auto industry. But from just a short term, from a trading standpoint, assets that were hot usually fall out of favor, and ones that were not will become the favored ones. And that's the shift that I see going on. Is palladium's had a really nice run. It looks toppy. Platinum's fallen out of favor, is bouncing bottom, and looks like it could start to rise. So you kind of shift your money from outperforming when it shows signs of a top, and you go to the kind of the underperforming asset class that is showing signs of strength, so you can hopefully catch that new asset ride up. And that's the shift that, the money's always looking for the best return on its investment. And, that's why we have secular rotation. People move from financial stocks to utilities to commodities. They rotate around. They're constantly looking for the one that isn't overbought, that they're looking for something that's just starting a new trend that could have a very explosive move. And that's what I see with platinum potentially starting to form here.
What about the so-called strategic battery materials that e-cars are going to need?
I don't really know anything about that, to be honest.
Well, things like zinc, cobalt, lead, lithium, the things that go into the batteries.
Yeah, I don't really follow those, but obviously the lithium battery market is expanding and growing exponentially. So you'd think the demand for those are going to have to be rising. I haven't really followed those at all, but I know every year they're improving those batteries, and they're using a lot of different materials as well. So that'll be interesting, but it's not something that I follow, so I can't really help you there.
We'll have more with Chris Vermeulen right after this.
I'm Kelly Jennings, CEO of PowerBand Solutions. PowerBand is a cloud-based provider of auction, inventory, and finance solutions that make buying, selling, and financing vehicles more efficient. PowerBand Solutions trades on the TSX Venture Exchange symbol PBX and on the OTCQB symbol PWWBF and on Frankfurt symbol 1ZB. For more information, please visit us at powerbandsolutions.com.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Chris Vermeulen. Chris, what's happening with crude oil?
Well, crude oil has been in a consolidation for a couple of weeks. It's been trading between a really significant floor and a ceiling, a support and resistance area on the chart, which is roughly $55 up to about the $57.50 area. It's been ping-ponging around in between those two lines, and it is in an uptrend. We do have our cycle pointing to higher prices looking forward the next week, and the next area of resistance, if it can break above $57.50, will be the 61.75 area. So it looks like it is on the verge of breaking out, and I think it could be a fairly straightforward play from 57.75 up to 61.75 over the next 1 to 2 weeks. It just needs to break out of that level to confirm it's going to break out, and then I think there's a pretty good opportunity there.
We haven't talked a lot about Bitcoin lately. It seemed to have slid off the charts. Should we be paying more attention to Bitcoin?
Well, yeah, I'm really starting to like Bitcoin. I've been following it for a long time on the charts, and Bitcoin is finally, it looks like it's gone into the bear market, formed a bottom, and we are now starting to see signs of life. In February, we've seen a couple big up days in Bitcoin, and the last week and a half, we've seen some big volume spikes. I call them get-ready spikes. It means the Bitcoin has went into this kind of dormant phase from late December into early February, where it just kind of faded, drifted lower, volume kind of faded as well. And that's a signature move after a waterfall sell-off we saw back in January of November, December this year. So that type of formation is usually a sign that people have given up on it. They're not too interested. And in the last 2.5 weeks, we're seeing interest move in. And Bitcoin is on the verge of breaking a really significant resistance trend line on the chart that if it can break 38.40 or the 4,000 mark is really the more significant one. I think it's going to have a very quick run up to the 5,000 mark. And the chart is really pointing to that. We haven't broken out yet. We have been to this trend line a couple of times already, and each time is reversed and sold back down. So you really do need to wait for the breakout, but it's on the verge of having a breakout and having a 1,000-point run, which in the grand scheme of things isn't huge when it was, 20,000 plus, not that long ago. But, here we're looking at a 25% move in Bitcoin. that could happen within a week or two of a breakout.
Chris, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Hey, always a pleasure, Jim. Thanks for having me.
My guest has been Chris Vermeulen from thetechnicaltraders.com. If you have any questions for Chris or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. Find us on Twitter @HowStreet, our YouTube channel, Talk Digital Network. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.